We're at the Kentucky Horse Park on September 8th, and right now we're at the Maker's Mark Secretariat Center, which is headquartered here at the Kentucky Horse Park. These are some guest horses that have just arrived here after a 3,000-mile walk from the West Coast with their owners. This is Jeanette and Richard McGrath, and they're going to be staying here at the horse park for a few days while their horses have a little R&R. So why don't you guys tell us a little bit about what inspired you to take a 3,000-mile horseback ride from California and how you ended up here at the Kentucky Horse Park?
Well, the original dream was my wife's. Her kindergarten teacher remembers her saying she wanted to ride her horse across country, although when you're a kid, it's, you know, the vision of it isn't what it really is. And when we were best friends in college, she said, well, this is my dream, and expected me to laugh at her. And I said, well, I'd do that with you. And so it kind of just became one of those things. When we got married, we just kind of forgot about it and just thought it was just another dream that would go by the wayside. And when we started preparing Hearts Up Ranch and getting the ideas that we need to do a big fundraiser and we needed to get stuff taken care of, you know, throwing around ideas, I said, well, why don't we ride our horses coast to coast? And I think everyone looked at me like I was crazy, and they were right. But so then it was like, okay, well, let's get planning for it. And then Jeanette and I felt that the cost of the ride should go on us, and so the charity would receive every penny from the benefit of it. So we started saving and started planning. It took us 3 years of planning to get this off the ground, and a year and a half of that just dehydrating food. And here we are, a year and a half later, and just been blessed for it. So.
Well, Jeanette, Richard mentioned Hearts Up Ranch. Tell us a little bit about that.
Hearts Up Ranch is something that's very near and dear to our heart. We founded a charity for emotional healing. It uses horses and outdoor adventure to help people open up and build a bond and build trust, and then a prayer ministry to work through emotional hurts. And the focus is on war veterans, abused women, rape victims, anyone who's had a very traumatic emotional experience.
That is fantastic. Now tell me about this beauty who has just come up here. She is my favorite of all of them that I've seen so far.
This sweet girl is Fiddle, and she is just my little darling. She's 18 years old, and she has had a very hard-working life at a guest ranch in Wyoming until we bought her 3 years ago, and then she has been walking across America ever since. She has a tremendous amount of heart, and she's very tough, and she is just a sweet mule, and I know that she's going to be very happy to have a very relaxed life when she gets home to Wyoming and finishes this trip.
I'm sure she is. I love her. She's just beautiful. Okay, tell us about a couple of these other horses then. Who is this?
That is Tiska.
Okay.
She is an Icelandic. She has a kind of an interesting story behind her. We were looking for a pack horse for this trip and an alternate rider, and so we prayed and prayed and prayed. We wanted a sturdy, stout animal who was a good mind, had a little bit of experience, just would be really tough and hardy for a trip like this. And we saw a poster on a wall that had been rained, and we barely saw a phone number and called about her. So Jeanette talked to the guy and said, well, we'll go check her out. And when we got there, we kind of looked and we're like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And
she's a pony.
She's a pony. And so we got there, and we talked to the guy, and he said, oh, she'll carry you, no problem, talking about me. And I was like, oh yeah, well, let's see. So I hopped on her bareback. We didn't know anything about her, and she just kind of said, okay, let's go, and just walked out like I wasn't there.
Oh.
And I said, okay, and we went home and laughed the whole way. We prayed about all this stuff, but we never mentioned anything about size, but she is everything we've asked for.
Oh, wonderful.
And she is the toughest animal we have.
And she's even the one that rolled down the cliff, but she is just absolutely tough and has a tremendous amount of heart.
Oh, okay. And this one?
This one is Chance.
Chance?
He is a
what's he?
Mustang quarter horse.
Okay.
And
that's a great combination.
It is. He came from Colorado. We didn't start with him. He's the only horse we didn't start with. we were kind of in a jam. One of our horses had a pulled stifle. He could walk, but he couldn't carry any weight. And so another time we thought kind of this ride was over. And a gentleman who we still have yet to meet heard about our problem. And he had ridden from Canada to Mexico several years earlier. He said, I got the perfect horse for you, but he's sold. Let me see what I can do. So he offered the guy a horse that the guy thought was better for the same price so he could give us this horse.
Oh.
And we still haven't met the guy who gave him to us, and we named him Chance because he was our second chance at getting this trip done.
Oh, that's great. Now, we've got what, a couple more here?
Yep.
Or one? Okay.
Those are our two leaders.
Okay.
Those are our main riders. They all ride, they all pack, but those are the ones we prefer to ride. The one in the front there, the roan, is Satchmo.
And is he a Percheron mix?
Percheron quarter cross, as
Okay.
best we can tell. We bought him when he was young, and the guy didn't think that he had much of a future ahead of him, but
He's still 6 years old.
when I saw
he's
him,
cute.
when I saw him, the Lord just spoke to me and said, that's the horse for you, and so that's what I said, and we took him home. And my wife was a bit concerned because she was, I don't know that he'll turn into much, but he is the sound horse, and when everyone else is afraid, he'll step up and take the lead and make sure we get where we're going.
Good boy. Okay. And then what about your Appaloosa here?
This is Apache, and he's my personal baby. He's my main riding horse, and he's the first one that we got, and he was my first horse after my childhood horse passed away, and he's pretty special because I actually trained. He was 8 years old when we bought him, and he had never been ridden, and I trained him. And I was going to resell him, and through a series of events, basically the Lord allowed him to be my horse.
Oh.
and so here he is riding across country, and he is just he's a great guy.
Well, you know, something that we've all really noticed about these horses is that for having already walked, what, 3,000, 3,200 miles across the country, they look fantastic. So you've really done a great job with that, and have obviously been really good stewards of your horses. So can you talk about that just a little bit? What is your philosophy on, because there are people who might be concerned about horses having to take a trip like this?
Well, you know, the difference how we feel is they're not a tool. These guys are our friends. They're almost like kids to us. I mean, each one of them has a personality and interacts with us differently, just like your friends would. And so it's important for us to keep them in shape. Like you said, stewardship is the key there, because if we let them get skinny and hurt and not take care of them, then we're being poor stewards, and then we're abusing these animals. If for some reason we couldn't take care of them, or they couldn't stay healthy, then we would go home. And that's been important to us.
Yeah, and it is important to us not to just discard them if one gets injured. In fact, it's taken us 1.5 years to get this far because we have had challenges with the horses, and we were anticipating finishing in about 12 to 14 months, and that's if everything had gone well. But it is important to us to put the horses first before we ride. If they're not able or ready to ride, we don't ride. And so if they're we keep a very close eye on them. If they're getting tired, we let them rest. If they need some time to fatten up a little bit, we give them time to fatten up. We have 5 horses now, and we only work 4 at a time, so we rotate through who gets the day off. And if one of them is sore or you know, got a saddle sore for some reason, they don't work. So, oh, hello, Apache. As you can see, they're kind of our buddies.
Well, this has been fantastic, and we're so glad you came to the Kentucky Horse Park for a few days. We're glad to have you, and glad to have your horses here. And let people know how to get in touch with you and Hearts Up Ranch, so they can learn a little bit more about what you're doing.
Absolutely. The best way is through the website, and it's called heartsupranch.com. And on that website, is the ability to donate to Hearts Up Ranch. There is an email, there's a GPS tracker that shows our exact location every day while we're riding, and so you can actually see where we're at and keep track of our progress. We do share regular blogs so that we can share our adventures and our...
As regular as we can get them from the trail.
Yeah, but our adventures and our stories and mishaps and joys and prayer requests and you know, progress as Hearts Up Ranch develops. So
and through that, people can leave encouraging comments or whatever they feel led to say on that too.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both so much, Jeanette and Richard McGrath. We're really glad you're here, and best wishes with the rest of your trip.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.